So if your audience can't describe you in one sentence as far as what you do, or better yet, if you can't describe yourself or your company or business in one sentence, then you not only have a brand problem, but you have a positioning problem. And so most founders truly post about everything. They don't really have any content strategy, they haven't developed content pillars, but they're also just really confused on who are they speaking to, meaning their persona, their ideal client profile. Who are those people? What are their pain points? What are their needs? What's the unsolved problem to be met? And then be that person, be known for that one thing. I keep referencing Peter Thiel as if he's some hero within branding. He's really not. He wrote a book called The 0 to 1 Offer. He is, for those who don't know, Peter Thiel, he is the founder of PayPal. He's done other brilliant things, but that's what he's best known for. And since we're talking about best known, he's really focused on creating your own lane, creating your own category. And even if you can't do that, you still need to be best known for one thing and then scale from there. So clarity beats cleverness always, 100% of the time. And if you're not sure on your lane, then no one else is. So, what I do with my clients at Tribe, anytime we start a new brand project, which is frequently and often, I always start with the why. And I can't take credit for that. That's a Simon Sinek philosophy. Start with the why. And I think what he really means is, why did you start this product? Why did you get into business? What are you hoping to accomplish? Who are you and why are you the authority in it? And who is this for? What's the intended audience? And what is the problem to solve? And so I think once you've done all that work, and that's something that I work with every brand client on, even if we're not doing their go-to-market strategy, if they're just coming to us for branding, I still have to go back and revisit the what I call in the client world foundation work. If you're building a house on loose sand, it will collapse. The same holds true for business. If you're building a company on loose sand and not a solid footing, it will collapse. As you scale and as you grow, you will inevitably face headwinds. And if you don't have a strong foundation, then it will collapse. So I think what's really important beyond just building a brand identity, a logo, some cool color palette, or brand mark, you really need to look back at, okay, what am I trying to do here? What's our North Star? What's our mission and vision? I've talked a lot about this in a lot of videos, but this is something that I talk to literally probably daily with every client we have at Tribe, which is, what do you want to be best known for? And I think I had originally kind of thought about this whole concept from something that I had heard Grant Cardone mention. And this was like at least a year or two ago. And so I've kind of carried it forward and modified it in my own way. And I always say it's better to be best known than best. And when you can be both, great. But an early stage company or even a growth stage company, you may not be best yet, especially in the audience that we primarily serve, which is the medical device audience. You know, innovations take time and clinical studies take years to complete from a perspective of proof of concept and clinical efficacy. And so if you can't prove through data that you're best, absolutely unequivocally, you can prove that you're best known. Or you can't prove it, but you should be best known. So the motivation for me and all of our clients is to make sure, one, we know what we want to be best known for. So that's an exercise that if anyone that's listening is a Tribe client, they've more than likely gone through that process with me. And then once we've decided, okay, we want to be best known for reinventing EKG. That's what we want to be best known for. We are disruptive technology. We're going to flip on the back of the old EKGs and we're now doing it differently. So we want to be best known as the disruptor in this market that's reinventing EKGs, for lack of better examples. So once you've kind of nailed that down, okay, we want to be best known for this, then it's a matter of matching your brand mission and vision and origin story and the who, the why, the what all with that notion of being best known for disrupting EKG or the EKG industry. And then once you start to get everything going in the same direction, so your mission, vision, that's kind of your internal ethos for your teams and their marching orders and the North Star that they are shooting for. Once you've redefined all of that with your brand strategy, meaning this is what we want to be best known for, then it's honestly a matter of just getting it out to the right channels based on what you know about that audience. So if you've done the foundation work, which I'd say 9 times out of 10 early stage companies and some growth stage companies have not done the work. And that's okay. That's what we're here for. And I'm sure multiple other companies, we can help you find that clarity. So that is not a problem. It's the problem is just addressing it internally with yourself. Okay, I don't know what I want to be best known for. I've tried multiple things. Nothing seems to be landing. Well, then if that's the issue, I would say go back to market research. It's never too late to test your hypothesis. And so if you feel like, okay, I know what I want to be best known for. I want to be best known for the best cupcakes in town, but my cupcakes aren't any good or they aren't what people want. Then it's a market research issue. It's not a brand foundation issue. Maybe you do want to be the best cupcake in town. But if you don't have research to support that your cupcake solves for that need or solves for that pain point or solves for that want or problem, then you have to go back even further back behind the brand foundation is the market research. And again, often a skip step. And so as you get closer to commercialization, or even if you are commercial, let's say I've got multiple clients that are commercial, they have been for 8 to 9 years, and they've kind of plateaued. And to me, that reeks of a lack of foundation and it reeks of a lack of market research. Because if you really understand what you want to be best known for and you're driving all messaging and all experiences towards that, then people will start to pick up what you're putting down. But if you don't know what you're wanting to be best known for, it's going to come through in all of your content. It's going to come through in all your sales interactions because people are just confused. Your website's going to be confusing, your brand messaging, your blogging, your content, it's all going to be very confused. But if you pick one thing that you think you're best in and ultimately first want to be best known for, then you channel market the heck out of that. And if that's still not landing, then that means we don't understand our customers. And that is a market research issue that you then need to go back and do. And it doesn't need to be complicated. Like we talk about market research a lot with our clients. You can do a massive scale market research effort, which does take time and money, but you can also do a small scale. You could go, if you have existing customers, you could go and just send out a survey monkey to all of your existing clients, find out why they initially bought from you, what were they hoping to accomplish. You could even go further and ask them, did they accomplish that? And really start to just profile your existing customer base. There's so much magic in that messaging because those are people that you've already built trust with. They already have bought from you. And that is ultimately the profile of your ideal client profile. But let's say you don't have customers yet, but your messaging isn't landing, even though you know what you want to be best known for. Then I would go to just a generic poll. I've done this for other things I've launched. You can do it through Google Forms or fillout.com. They all have forms. You can do tally.so, I think it is. All have free options and build out, let's say, 6 to 10 questions that you think would help you identify the true pain points, the true needs, the true market, what's not currently being met in the market, how you could differentiate yourself from your competitors, how you can create a lane of your own, like the Peter Thiel conversation we just had, and ultimately build out a much stronger premise for your hypothesis. Because ultimately, business solutions are a hypothesis until proven otherwise. And so everyone that starts a company, starts a product, innovates anything, they are guessing until they're not. And so how you find out if you're not guessing is one, it's supported by market research and you have credible market research to support this is a need, this is how we should show up, this is the pain point, this is the unmet need. Those are all things that can be done from a very specific data-driven objective way but then you also have to send that out to random people. I mean, I was building out a course that was completely separate from my company. And I had market research from people I had previously been colleagues with, because it's really my audience for this course is really corporate employees that want to launch their own company. And I pulled a lot of my former colleagues and they gave me great information, but I found it to be more useful going out to an audience that doesn't know me and that I don't know, because I feel like their feedback is far more credible than, like, let's call it my friend's feedback. So, anyway, this isn't a conversation around market research, but I think it all is important when you're building out your best known strategy. First, do some deep dives on yourself. What did you build this company for? What did you build this product or service or innovation for? And also, what are you really good at? How is your company going to show up best? And once you've done all of that, you've done all the market research, you've validated that this is a need, this is how people want this to be experienced, then you just grab a lane. I think my old employer, they didn't realize until about 20 years in that they actually hadn't claimed something that was so obvious. They were the pioneers of robotic surgery, but they had never actually owned that lane. I think it was implied and obviously obvious at the time because they were a monopoly, but they hadn't really ever owned the lane of being best known for pioneering robotic surgery. And I think they started to realize we need to claim that or someone else will, even though technically they had all of the valid reasons to say they are best known for doing that. The whole point of this conversation is to, first of all, know what you want to be best known for. If you don't, no big deal. You can start today. You can figure out what you're best at, what your company does really well, what is unique to you compared to your competitors, how you want to show up, why you want to show up, who are you showing up for, and what do you ultimately do that disrupts your market. Those are all things that are so important to your brand. And people really shortcut those sometimes because I know you're busy. Startups are drinking from a fire hose all the time. They are constantly drinking from a fire hose and putting out fires at this exact same time. And so time is an issue. But if you want to scale for the long haul, you've got to do some of the heavy lifting. And that's where it really comes down to be known for one thing and then scale from there. If you learn anything else from this, be known for one thing, be best known in your lane and own it, claim it, and communicate it to everyone that will listen.